Rodney Childers has a new home. NASCAR unveils its electric vehicle prototype, and let's see if there are any new faces in my power rankings this week. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. The biggest non-driver free agent is now off the market. We'll get to that and so much more in just a moment. First, this episode is sponsored by Pristine Auction. PristineAuction.com is the most trusted sports memorabilia and collectibles auction site. Auctions on PristineAuction.com start at just $1, and each day thousands of signed items are available, so you can win authentic signatures at affordable prices. Every item on PristineAuction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators. PristineAuction.com is your one-stop shop for NASCAR memorabilia, collectibles, and so much more. Upgrade your sports collection today and get $10 off your first winning purchase by using registration code ERIC. That's ERIC. Click the link down below, use registration code ERIC to get a $10 credit. Thank you to PristineAuction.com for sponsoring the show. No better way to start the day than with some big breaking NASCAR free agency news. Rodney Childers has signed a deal with Spire Motorsports to be the number 7 crew chief beginning in 2025. Deal was signed last night, announced today. Shocking news. Spire Motorsports continues to be big spenders. They're not selling at the trade deadline. No, they're buy. Rodney Childers said in a statement, quote, "We all buy the same chassis, bodies, and parts. What makes the difference is the people. Spire continues to invest in the people within the team, and they seek out good people to add depth to an already strong group. Corey LaJoie is a veteran of the sport, and I think we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us." Childers also applauded the culture at Spire, says that a lot of his crew members from Stewart-Haas have gone over there to work in recent years and really enjoy it. Rodney Childers is headed to Spire. He'll take the place of Ryan Sparks. Ryan Sparks, according to the press release, will focus on his competition director role. Ryan Sparks and Corey LaJoie have worked together since the Go Fast days, right? Since like 2019, 2020. This is a huge move. Rodney Childers will make this whole team better, no doubt. Part of me wonders if Rodney should be the one going into a competition director role. I'm sure guys like Carson Hocevar and Michael McDowell will still get a lot out of having Childers on the team, even if he's not directly their crew chiefs. I wonder about this dynamic, though. Rodney Childers will be Corey LaJoie's crew chief. I like Corey LaJoie, but the pressure is going to be on Corey next season. We'll see how he does. I feel this year has been a little underwhelming. I mean, he's 31st in points. I get that somebody has to be 30th in points, but when your rookie teammate has been top 25 all year, despite a recent points penalty, that doesn't reflect super well on the supposed veteran of the group. I feel like Corey LaJoie is already under the microscope now that he'll be paired up with a championship crew chief. On one hand, this is a fantastic opportunity, but on the other, with great expectations comes great pressure. I'm not sure, based on his history, that Corey LaJoie is the best under great pressure. This is wild, though, because just last week, Josh Berry said publicly that, hey, the Wood brothers, we're going to interview Rodney Childers. We're going to give him a shot. He could still get this job. Based on the timing of this announcement, I don't think that interview ever happened. I think Rodney Childers knew that the Wood brothers were likely to go with a Penske guy anyways. Why waste my time with an interview when Spire is over here with the bag? It's well known throughout the industry that Spire Motorsports has been willing to spend big bucks. Michael McDowell left front row because Spire offered him a more lucrative contract. We've heard it about spotters joining Spire. Ever since Gamebridge got involved and those checks started to clear, Spire has been spend. I am a little disappointed Rodney Childers isn't going to front row. I felt that would be a perfect pairing. Front row's driver lineup next year will likely be Todd Gilliland, Noah Gragson, and probably another really young driver. They're a key partner team with very few key partner people in position. That's just my opinion. Most of them are very young, inexperienced. Rodney Childers is a veteran with experience working with Ford. So I feel Childers to front row would have been a perfect match, but you can't stop Spire, man. They've got the money. They're getting their guys. For sure, this is a win for Spire Motorsports. Just 5 years ago, they were an unknown. New team, didn't look competitive, questions about their future, their commitment. Now, they look formidable. Gainbridge invested, they've expanded, they've bought KBM, they're signing veterans like McDowell, Rodney Childers. Spire Motorsports has become a destination. Kudos to them. How do you think the number 7 team will perform next season? Let me know down in the comments section below. Now, let's talk about this electric vehicle prototype NASCAR debuted at Chicago. On Saturday, NASCAR unveiled this prototype, a partnership with the tech company ABB, who you may recognize from Formula E. NASCAR Vice President John Probst, who is also the Chief Racing Development Officer, was there and explained the purpose of this new experimental car.
We at NASCAR want to be in the driver's seat for whatever the future holds. We don't want to be a passenger and drug through it. We are looking at a car here that has over 1,000 kilowatts of power, so that's over 1,300 horsepower. I can't say we're sitting here today saying we're going to introduce a series, but I can say that we are here, and I use my automaker friends here as an example. We built a prototype car. This ABB NASCAR EV Prototype was built to go out and demonstrate what this technology is capable of, and we look forward to hearing from our fans on what they'd like to see out of it. So, we're here for the journey.
So you heard right there. As of now, there is no plan to introduce an all-electric racing series. Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal, shed additional light on details. They reported that NASCAR is in advanced discussions with Thrill One Sports and Entertainment on a deal that would see NASCAR invest into Nitrocross, an electric racing series. Dana White, the owner of Thrill One Sports and Entertainment, recently discussed this potential partnership on a podcast and was at the Chicago street race this past weekend. There's a lot here. As has previously been reported and we've discussed, NASCAR is not committed to an all-electric racing series. They built this crossover type car with a lot of existing next-gen parts, with the goal being to create a platform that can easily be edited to fit whatever power supply wins out. Because that's the thing, the real world auto industry is trying to figure out the future. Is the future all electric? Is it hybrid? Is it some sort of sustainable fuel? We don't know. They don't know. There are dozens of different projects going off in dozens of different directions. When one of these new technologies wins out, I think you'll see a lot of manufacturers all go that same direction. That's what NASCAR wants to be ready for. They want to have a platform ready so that once automakers pick their path, they will go to NASCAR first to develop and promote this new technology. NASCAR has reiterated time and time again that the loud, rumbling engines aren't going away anytime soon, maybe ever. And as we see with this new car, an all-electric series or some sort of alternative fuel series will not be replacing the NASCAR Cup Series. It will likely exist as its own thing. Again, potentially it'll become Nitrocross, which already exists separate from the top 3 levels of NASCAR, which I don't have a problem with. More racing is more racing. If they were to say, hey, this car's replacing the Cup car in 5 years, yeah, I'd be panicked too. But that's not what they're saying, and that's never been what they've said. NASCAR needs to be able to adapt to new technologies, or else many automakers may pull out, and then this whole house of cards could come crashing down. So I don't have a problem with this. I understand it's not for everyone, but as long as it exists sort of separately as its own experimental thing, I think it's cool. Why not? Who's against more racing? Some people are, I guess. Should never doubt the internet. One story I want to touch on real quick that I have a slight personal connection to. A lot of folks noticed that Thad Moffitt and the number 46 truck are now entered under the Young's Motorsports banner. I've done a couple videos with Thad in the past year. He, of course, started this year racing for brand new team Faction 46. Faction 46, at least for now, no longer exists. So I'll do my best to give you guys kind of all the background information I know. First off, as many of y'all know, I work with a company called AE Engine on a variety of projects. Some are just sponsorship based. Others are like, the charity iRacing streams we've done a few years in a row now, or like Daily Downforce, a new site they started. I'm part of that ecosystem. I don't own it or anything, but you'll find my and many other content creators' works featured there. AE Engine worked with the Faction owners to help start this new truck series team late last year. They invited me to get involved, and I thought it'd be a great idea because it would be fun to hopefully take you guys behind the scenes and show off what does a new truck series team look like? What are the challenges that a new team faces? Can this new team make it. I was looking forward to hopefully sharing more of that content with you guys. I think I did basically one video, and then I kind of realized that, maybe they weren't going to be able to grant quite as much access as I had originally hoped. So I haven't talked to any of the main faction people in weeks, maybe months. And I know at least a few weeks ago, AE Engine sort of started to move away from them. So I don't know exactly why they aren't racing this weekend. Everything I've heard has kind of been sort of funneled through those different channels. Broadly speaking, the way I understand it is that the faction owner, new to the sport, wasn't happy with costs. The team was very reliant on a technical alliance with Nice Motorsports. I think money was tight for both. And then a few early DNFs this season obviously didn't help. So there's tension between the faction owner and the Nice owner. And then I think there's also tension with the Moffats. Like, the faction owner and the Moffats didn't particularly get along. I don't exactly know why. The way I understand it, contracts were disputed. Ultimately, the Moffats went in a different direction. That's why you see Thad racing for Youngs. Last I heard, Nice basically absorbed the faction resources. The owner points of the 46 are going with Thad to Youngs, I believe. So we'll see if faction ever pops back up again under the Nice umbrella. I'm not exactly sure. I've heard conflicting reports of what's going on at Nice. But again, broadly speaking, it just came down to money. The faction owner was worried about money. I think conflicts arose between him and Nice. Obviously, the results on the track were not good. So ultimately, this is where we're at. I'm not involved with the team, and neither are the folks at AE Engine at this point, as far as I understand it. I wanted to take you guys more behind the scenes with this race team throughout the year, but it's hard to make it in NASCAR. We had some cool ideas we kicked around during the offseason. It's a shame that, money and circumstances get in the way and don't allow us to actually follow through on that stuff, but it is what it is. As far as Thad Moffat is concerned, he's a good dude. I've got to spend a good amount of time with him over the course of this year. I hope he's able to get a true opportunity to develop. He is still young, clearly needs some development, but I hope he gets that opportunity. Maybe that's what this Youngs Motorsports deal will do for him. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. Anyway, wish I could go into more specifics, but I don't know truthfully any more specifics than that. But I saw some folks on social media asking questions, and since I did publicly do a video with them early in the year, I figured I should at least try to offer some clarification. I don't know, it's not particularly interesting. It's just money. At the end of the day, it's all money in this sport. Money, money, money. But with that now out of the way, let's talk power rankings. The Chicago street race was wet and wild. Today, I will rank the top 10 fastest overall drivers and teams in the NASCAR Cup Series right now. My honorable mention this week is Joey Logano. Honestly, I think I was being nice putting him 10th last week. Penske has improved a ton, but they still have work to do on the bigger ovals, and with tracks like Pocono, Indy, Michigan coming up, I think the 22 team has its work cut out. In the number 10 spot this week, I'll go with Alex Bowman. Mr. Top 10 himself finally broke through to get his first win in over 2 years. Congratulations. He had a good car, played the stages well to get stage points, and had just enough tire left to hold off a hard-charging Tyler Reddick to get the win. Has he silenced all the BS, as he put it? I'm not sure. I don't think anyone can objectively put the 48 team in the same tier as the other Hendrick Motorsports cars, but Bowman has been quietly consistent all year long. I'm happy he finally got that win. He's locked into the playoffs. Alex Bowman at 10. At number 9, speaking of quiet, Ryan Blaney had a pretty quiet weekend at Chicago, but sometimes that's a good thing. Top 10 effort, solid effort for the defending series champion. Just like I said about Logano, Team Penske has gotten a lot faster this summer, but with these big tracks coming up, I'm a little worried, just a little bit. At number 8, I've got another Ford, Brad Keselowski. 28th, 25th, and 18th are his finishes the last 3 weeks. He's dropped from 7th down to 10th in the regular season standings. I know I'm talking a lot about Ford right here, but ultimately their strength are the shorter ovals. They can win on bigger tracks. Brad Keselowski won Darlington. Logano took advantage of circumstances to win at Nashville. But Ford's strengths are the short ovals. And I keep mentioning it, but of the next 4 races, we've got 3 big ovals, and then there is a Richmond mixed in there. That's a great opportunity. Keep in mind, once we get into the playoffs, there's only 1 short oval in those first 2 rounds. That's Bristol. There's 3 bigger tracks. 2 of them are drafting. There's 2 road courses. I'm not sure that's Ford's strength right now. So hopefully the next month or 2, RFK, Penske can find something that will help them come playoff time. I have Keselowski at 8. At number 7, Martin Truex Jr. Hey, he was running top 5 late in the race when he got jacked up in that whole deal with Stenhouse and Christopher Bell getting hooked. Truex is still solidly 5th in the regular season standings, but any shot at winning the regular season championship has all but slipped away. He is now 70 points back, and he's got guys like Byron, Blaney, Bell breathing down his neck. Still, Martin Truex Jr. at 7. At number 6, speaking of William Byron, he also had a fairly quiet day at Chicago, but still scored an 8th place finish. That's just his second top 10 finish in the last 6 races, and he still hasn't led a single lap since the Coke 600. I'm watching the 24 closely to see if they can pick things up these next few weeks in time for the playoffs. I know back in the day, Jimmy and Chad used to experiment during the summer when it was clear they were effectively locked into the playoffs. But that's not really how it works anymore. I mean, sure, you could experiment here or there or take a bigger risk, but you always need more playoff points. At one point this year, William Byron had more playoff points than anyone. Now, he hasn't earned a single playoff point in 6 weeks, and he's dropped to 4th. Ask Kevin Harvick in 2020 how important every single playoff point is. Top 5, Chase Elliott is my number 5 spot. All good things must eventually come to an end. Chase Elliott's 19-race top 20 streak ended at Chicago with a 21st place finish. That's just bad luck, man. That stinks. Still, it's not bad for Elliott. He's got a great 10.6 average finish and actually cut into Kyle Larson's regular season championship lead by a little bit. He's only 11 points back. At number 4, the hard-charging Tyler Reddick. That's 2 weeks in a row Reddick was in contention for the win on the final lap. 6th, 3rd, and 2nd the past 3 weeks. That's 6 top 10 finishes the past 7 races. Reddick has climbed up to 3rd in the regular season standings, which I think might be a season high. I know he's been kicking himself the last 2 weeks. Oh, if I'd only cut low, or if I'd only not hit the inside wall, maybe things would have been different. He could have a couple more trophies. But Reddick has proven the last few weeks he's got the speed, and that's the most important thing. Eventually, even if just by sheer coincidence, the wins will come. Tyler Reddick at 4. At number 3, I've still got Denny Hamlin. I know he's been struggling. 4 finishes outside of the top 20 in the last 5 races. And Chicago was ugly, but we saw at Nashville just 2 weeks ago that when he doesn't run into issues, Denny Hamlin is one of the fastest cars in the field almost any given week. He likely wins that Nashville race, if not for 5, a record number of overtimes. And I like the next few tracks for Denny. Obviously Pocono, Indy should be good. Richmond has been Toyota's playground for many years. For those reasons, I'm keeping Denny Hamlin at 3. I still have his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Christopher Bell at number 2. 3 straight weeks, Bell has maybe had the best car in the field. Only 1 win to show for it is obviously disappointing. Nashville, he was back in traffic, put himself in a bad aero spot, spun out. And then at Chicago, sort of forced into a difficult strategy, got caught up in a wreck driving their way up through the field. Just stuff happens. Unfortunately, he has dropped a couple of spots in the regular season standings recently, but the 20 is bad fast every single week. I have to keep him at number 2. And still in the number 1 spot is Kyle Larson. Still the regular season points leader. He was top 5 at Chicago before making that mistake in the rain and crashing into the tire barrier. That's Kyle Larson for you. I mean, his checkers or wreckers. He's fun to watch. Get a load of this stat. In the last 7 races, Larson has 4 finishes inside the top 10. He has 3 finishes outside of the top 30. I mean, he can get away with that right now, but come playoff time, we're going to need to be a little bit more consistent. There you go. Those are my top 10 after Chicago. Tough to make rankings this week. Really, this is 2 races in a row where I feel we didn't learn a whole lot. All the overtimes at Nashville shook up the running order, and then Chicago is such a unique beast with the rain, the unique configuration. I don't know. I don't feel we've learned a whole lot in recent weeks, which is why my top 5 hasn't changed a whole lot. Let me know, though, if you agree, disagree with my rankings. I'll see you next week after Pocono. That should be fun. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR news, notes, rumors, commentary, and much more every single day. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, folks. It's been a busy week. Not expecting things to slow down anytime soon. I will see you in the next episode.